But if you don't want to do that, just know it's a productivity app, consumer-based productivity app right now. It is in public beta. And the last, let's see, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 5 days have been, for me, focused on onboarding and launching a new feature. So as of this morning, did what I said I'd do, send out an email. So I would consider that like an internal launch to the existing user base. So I'll start with talking through what the feature is, the email, and some initial feedback I've gotten so far. In addition to what I've learned about these internal launches, these soft launches, how I'm trying to do them better. And then for the rest of this week, hopefully, I'm just going to focus on marketing, on top of funnel, on conversions, things like that. So trying to keep the IDE closed. And my teammate Victor is holding things down, watching the logs, adding more improvements and good stuff like that. So if you're more technical, maybe you'll like to see the other side of the product equation here when we're talking about just marketing and less product stuff. This is something I'm excited about because I really believe in like the core inspiration behind this product, and it's a fun challenge to think about how I can package that for people who don't like have this core belief set like I do about time and productivity, and try to get them motivated, get them to feel something, get them to care in a world where everything's already for free and you already have like all the tools that you quote need to be productive. It's cool to think about finding the right people and explaining it to them how this is actually different and special and built just for people like you. But before that, let's talk briefly about the product and what we launched. And to do that, I'm just going to show the email I sent out. So if you're not on the list, you'll see what everyone got. I think crafting these emails is a skill. I'm better at it than I used to be. And in fact, I'm pretty proud of this one. And let's just look at it right now. So the subject line is lock in, quote, beta feature. Prefix it all with the compass emojis just so they know, like, this is from the guy who made it. This is about the app in some way. And I start with one line summary. It helps you focus on the current task at hand. I'm hoping that gets some attention. If they just want to skim, I'm hoping they look at the image and then they see this new annotation and then they're like, oh, okay, it's this. I feel like if you see this, you kind of already know what it is. So I want to just give them the good stuff right away. I don't like when companies are like, we did this and that and it took us so long and it was so much work, and after it's like just like it's not about you initially, it's about me, the reader. And all these people are getting this email are having their own day. They're their main character and I'm just popping in, and so I'm not going to try to convince them to learn about my life. I'm just going to be like, here's how I can help you. I can help you lock in. So that's why I structure it like this. Then below, they're like, okay, maybe I'll skim this. And so I like having short sentences. I like using white space between sentences. Like I don't like stacking 3 sentences and having like a big chunk, because I feel like that's intimidating when you're on your phone. I'd rather have you use your thumb to just keep scrolling a little bit more rather than having to stick your eyes in one spot and just like go left or right. Rather you go up and down. So that's why I've wrote it like this. And now I'm talking about how there's 2 types of people. I'm hoping that'll trigger some curiosity because they'll naturally think, well, what type am I? Then I qualify it by saying, like, if you're this type, then you probably have this problem. So I'm trying to make them problem aware. So if you're the type who plans a lot you prioritize your type A, you're actively engaging with your life and you have goals and you're probably ambitious and maybe a little intense. I know you because I'm that guy too. And I also know that can lead you to feeling a little overwhelmed. So I'm trying to speak to that and then say how actually you might like this app I built because I'm like this. I know I have this problem and I built something to help me address that problem, which is having one app to help you plan, but also lock in and just do planning and doing side by side in one app. And then I explain, okay, do this, do this, do this. If you're bought in at this point, hopefully you just click the link above, go to the app, sign in, and then hopefully it's just intuitive. But if not, I'm hoping these 5 steps will help you figure it out. And then I have a call to action again, so they don't have to scroll up here to this link. And by the way, I did hyperlinks on purpose instead of buttons, because if you are on your phone, it's going to just display a message saying, hey, it's not built for mobile yet. It's just built for the web right now, for desktop. Trying to perfect that platform first, and then we'll go to mobile once we know the kind of features and workflows that people want. So that's intentional friction. I want you to be on the web, click it, and then I want to hear back from them. And so I say reply here, but I also know that can be kind of intimidating or maybe a little weird. So I set up an anonymous Google form where I don't even ask for their email, and they can just submit it there. Because we don't have a way to collect feedback directly through the app. It's always like links out to other places. So I just want to make this front and center for them so that they know, like, hey, I made this and I'm open to hearing what you think. And finally, the last breakdown in the anatomy of an email is just some call outs. So I said we fixed a bug. I know this bug I'm calling out was really annoying for some people, myself included, and now it's fixed. I'm not going into details there. That's all you need to know. If you ran into this, you won't run anymore, and let's move on. Then a call to action to check out this YouTube. Maybe this is how you found it. Maybe you saw that link and you're like, well, I don't want to use the app right now, but maybe I'm curious how this is going. So I'd like to include that. And then finally, trying to always include when someone new contributes to the repo, since it is open source. It's all open source. I gave Brian leaked a little shout out. So that was the email. I cooked this up this morning. This took me probably 2.5 hours to create this, to create the copy, to test it, and all that. And I'm pretty happy with it. And so far, it hasn't resulted in many unsubscribes. It's gotten some clicks. It's gotten some initial feedback where people have come with ideas and shown some high investment by like showing screenshots and references to other apps and kind of going into detail and being supportive. And I don't want to ever like need that from people in order to launch or to make progress, but it does feel good when it happens, and I do appreciate it from those people. So it's out there. Some people are using it too. No massive bugs that are like showstoppers, so that's positive too. Okay, that was the update from this morning. The other thing I wanted to share was this. So that feature update is focused on getting people to continually use the app. So these are for people who already know about me or the app, what it can do for them, at least vaguely, like they tried it one day, and it's about re-engaging them and encouraging them to come back every day and keep using this app as a habit, as a part of their digital life. But now I'm looking to a different group of people, which are the people who have no idea who I am and what the app does and why they need it and what problem it's solving. And this is by far the bigger problem I have, because it's not the kind of product where I would charge, $500 a month, $200 a month, and I just need a couple customers. It's the one where people are more price sensitive, especially since I'm going through individual consumers to start out. So I'm going to need volume. I'm going to need a good amount of people to use it and to pay for it, which means I'm going to need a good amount of people to reach in an easy, repeatable way. And I have not cracked that code yet. I've been getting better at collecting data and being more objective about how to go about doing this. I added analytics to the app. I added analytics to the landing page, and I'm trying to track the campaigns across the links I do on social media, so I have a better idea of like what's working. But I found this out. This is really cool for open source projects. So if you are considering open source, or if you have a repo right now, you might not know about this, what I'm going to show you. So listen up. This is how you can find out a lot about your repo and the traffic and the usage of your code that's not initially apparent. So of course you probably have it on GitHub, and they have a new Insights tab. I think it's new. And this shows you clones and unique cloners and visitors and unique visitors. Just 4 metrics, but this is really powerful actually. Because if you have a repo and you just go to the home page, you're probably used to just looking at the star count and the fork count and the watch count up here. So stars are just people with accounts on GitHub who say, I like it. It doesn't cost them anything. It takes 3 seconds. Forks are for people who click this button and then they get a copy of their code, and they might submit a PR to change something, or they're open to doing that. And that's useful. But a clone, I think, is even more helpful. And a clone is here, you get the code, you download it, and people think it's anonymous, and it was anonymous for a while, but they're not forking it, and so they have less intention to go back and like contribute to the repo. They just want to get the code up and running. It's like an easier way to do this. And this provides a lot of signal for just, I guess, people who see your site and are aware of your repo and your product. And also, it's taking away a bit of the popularity. Like anyone can just star it and be like, okay, that's nice. But to clone it means you have some intention here, whether it's to steal the code, not steal, it's MIT open source, so steal it all you want, but take inspiration from the code, run it locally, do it out of security reasons because you don't want your data in any cloud at all. You just want to own it all. I'm not sure, but this is eye-opening for me, because having around 400 unique cloners in the last 14 days is really surprising. I didn't think this many people knew about the app at all. I didn't think that many people would actually take action after finding out. And hold on, actually this doesn't even make sense. There's apparently 400 unique cloners, but there's 90 unique visitors. So that means they're cloning, but they're not visiting the app. I wonder if some of these are bots. I bet some of these are bots. This would make more sense. But they're not all bots, because I know some people are going to the landing page directly from the GitHub. Like that's an actual distribution channel. I just don't know how they're finding the GitHub, where it's coming from, what their intent is. And I hope to figure that out. But just even having this data that there are apparently 90 individuals or bots who are accessing this is eye opening. Because if you just go to a landing page and you do unique visitors, it's lower than that over that time period. So there you go. Long story short, if you have a public repo, check out the traffic page. You might find something interesting. Hey Hamza, thanks for dropping in. Thanks for the chat. The journey is going steady. I would say it's steady. Look, I'm still hoping for a couple Grand Slam changes and upticks in traffic and usage, but it's not going down. It's going up steadily. So I'm just focused on one day at a time. So that was what I want to show you about the product and the traffic. We did the launch email. The last thing I want to talk about for like a retrospective on this last week is a mental shift about launching and moving forward. I'm going to drop a long form YouTube video on this today, or I already did my last one, I think, about with the thumbnail where it says launch week or something like that. How in the past, when I've sent out these emails and I've hoped for people to have a certain kind of reaction and I didn't get that reaction, or I got a critical reaction, constructively critical reaction, I let it throw me off. And my initial response to that was, well, let me buffer that kind of reaction proactively. So I would send that email, and then immediately after I knew everything didn't break, I would go work out or go for a walk or go do something good for me. My new evolution of this mindset is I just keep moving. It's not like it's a special part of the day. It's not like I'm sitting refreshing the page and like watching everything. I am aware and I have alerts set up now where if something breaks, I get a notification. And if I don't, then I know I don't have to stress out about it. I can just focus on the thing at hand. So for today, I spent the morning writing that email and sending it. And I spent a little bit of time making sure nothing broke. And now I'm like already past it. And I'm focused on the marketing stuff, focused on moving forward. And I do feel a lot better after doing it this way. It's similar to how I'm trying to operate with YouTube. Like I used to get really precious about an upload, about a video I thought was really cool. And if it wasn't taking off, then I got in a funk for like a day or two and I got all discouraged. Now, by the time I publish a long form video, I'm already working on the next one, or I already have a couple shorts in the hopper ready to go for it. And it's like I'm detached from it. I'm already thinking about what I'm doing today. And if you're someone who's launching soon or you're getting precious about releasing something, maybe you can take that and roll with it, because it's a lot easier on the mind to stay stoic and move forward. So I'm like stoked that went out there. I'm stoked some functionality's out there, and I'm already like thinking about the next thing. Okay, we got some questions. Sorry about the delay. I'm looking back and forth. Prakash Jai asks, what's this about? This is a productivity app developer who just did a little rundown on the launch he did, and now I am talking about marketing strategy for the next week, and I'm gonna write out some lead magnets. So click the links if you want to check out the product I'm talking about. And actually that's what Hamza asked. Yeah, the product is called Compass Calendar, compasscalendar.com, and I think the stream should have the link, and if not, go to the channel page and there will be links there for that. It's open beta, or you could just scroll through the landing page. And let's see, we got Bilu Sanda Plays. Don't know what that means or if I said that right, but he's also creating something and having fun with the back end. Cool. Glad to have you guys here. Let's talk about the lead magnet marketing stuff. That's the next plan. To ground this in some facts and figures, which page is it here? Let me zoom out a sec. It's probably this one. No. Although I do want to touch on that quickly. Miscellaneous. Roadmap. It's got to be the roadmap. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so I threw out some numbers at the beginning of this challenge just to help me make decisions. And the question was, like, let's just say it's $10. How many visitors, signups, and users would I need? So these are the figures you see. It would be about 11,000 visitors, 2,500 signups, and 2,000 paying customers to get to that number to get to 2K MRR, which would basically be profitable and therefore sustainable for us. Yes, I remember you, Bilu. I do. You joined a couple days ago or last week. I'm not sure. I remember your screenshot. So these are the numbers, and the big one that seems like the most challenging is this top one. I think the product is cool. I think it's useful for the right people, and I think some people will pay for it. But to get to 11,000 people aware is just a shift in how it's forcing me to operate, because I've been big on like product-led growth, founder story, talking about yourself and being authentic and building in public, but that's only got me so far, and it doesn't speak directly to the right type of person. It doesn't force me to really niche down the product. It's almost like a crutch to be able to say, hey, I'm a developer, here's me coding, or here's what I'm working on, or I'll go to events, or I'll go like actively pitch people, and it'll convert, and some people will check it out just through the force of what I'm doing. But to get to 11,000, I can't do that for 11,000 people in person. So I need to find a way to find where these people are and to speak to them and to trigger some kind of emotion enough where they would give me their email or they would give me their time to try to sign up. So it's making me think a little differently. And one of the ideas we had, I guess me and some other people, humans and also AI, was to create a couple things. I'll call them a lead magnet. We have a bunch of ideas here, but one of them was creating a lead magnet or a tool that I could either host on the landing page or just share it out. And you guys know what this is. It's like, here's a PDF report. Here's maybe like a research summary. Here's what's your personality quiz. What kind of worker are you? What kind of developer are you? You fill out the things and it gives you like something fun, maybe insightful. This is big for like personality quizzes and things like that. So I love the idea. I've heard Daniel Priestley, talk about this at length. In fact, he created his own app for it called the Score app here. And I was looking through, and basically it's hard to see, but it's like a type form or a workflow where you ask questions, they give answers, and based on the answers, you assign in a score, and based on the score, you get assigned your result or personality or answer at the end. And they built a whole product around this with analytics, and I may or may not use this directly, but this is the idea of something I want to create. So by Thursday, I'm going to have a lead magnet out in the wild, and best case, it's really useful for people. They feel good about filling it out. They have value. And then some of them are like, this was nice. Maybe I should go to the app that they built for this. and then they go to the landing page and sign up. Simple idea, but first, I've only done this a few times, and it hasn't been as intentional as I'm doing here. So I'm kind of excited to see what I can ship, given just pure feedback or what I have in my head. I've talked to a lot of people about their productivity systems, and I've seen a lot of their calendars and workflows and things, and I know I have something to offer, but I do need to just package it in the right way and get it out there and experiment. And I want to do that as soon as possible. So I'm thinking today and tomorrow morning is when I'll craft like the core idea of it, and then I'll package it, make it live, and then we'll see how it works. So I started this page where I'm just kind of throwing up my ideas about my authority, trying to package up what I know about productivity, and in a way that's kind of related to the app itself. So it's almost like this is like a spec doc for this lead magnet, and I tend to get the basics here, and then I'll probably collab with ChatGPT about ways we can make it better, and then I'll figure out how to deploy it. So let's see, what do I need? I need the ability to, at a minimum, capture emails that could either be directly to me, like with an integration to my email sending provider, or it could live in some other app's database and I just export them. And I need it to be shareable in some way, because I don't want to just find people, engage them, convert them, because I don't think I can get to 11,000 people directly that way. I'd rather be able to find a couple hundred, and then they are so excited and motivated that they share it with other people, and it seems like an easier path to get to the impressions I need. So it has to be shareable on social networks or email or text, or just as a direct link. And then the nice to haves are that I can track where people are coming from, whether it's SEO or a marketing campaign. And this kind of connects to what I was talking about with GitHub and how important it is for me to see the traffic, just so I know what the heck to spend my energy on and what I can avoid. Then finally, the nice to have is that I can host it on the landing page, so I get better SEO. So it's evergreen. I'm gonna add that too. Like the content it doesn't expire, or it doesn't become irrelevant quickly. It'd be nice if this could just be like an evergreen flywheel. So let me add that quick. Okay. So to do those things, I think it has to be visually appealing. Some kind of chart or colors. It'd be nice if it's on brand with Compass, so it feels like it's made by the same people, because it is. And that it has to appeal to the professional. So since this is an individual productivity app right now, I'm not trying to convince whole teams to convert and use it. I'm trying to just sneak in to the professional world through the individual, and so I can talk to that person a little more personally than I would in a work environment. And then I listed some tools that could be used to accomplish this. I'm trying to stay away from the complete custom, but I might if it's simple enough. I just don't want to get drawn into maintaining a lot of code that isn't that necessary. All right, Billu asks, are you doing these lives to memorize everything? No, it's more about just like showing people the product, getting awareness, momentum, keeping myself accountable, all that good stuff, just for fun. I'm not trying to really memorize anything. So, getting a little more concrete now on the lead magnet. The personality quiz is one type of it, where you could explain what type of worker are you, what's your productivity style, or you call it like a scorecard. Like, here's your time management scorecard, or here's your productivity system scorecard. I think I need to work on the name of it so it's a little more catchy, but hopefully you see where I'm going with it. So now we're getting to the content. I have a few things listed. I'm gonna expand it here and off stream. But if we're talking about what makes a good productivity system, like what kind of factors are in place, in my opinion, it is minimal in terms of the stack. Like, the number of tools isn't crazy. You could have a separate tool for reminders, for tasks, for notes, for long form notes, for your CRM, your people, for email, for automation. Like, you could do that, and each of those individually is probably the best at it. But in my opinion, that adds so much cognitive overload that the accounts you need, the subscriptions, the emails you get from it, it's too noisy. And I would rather have someone have like a principal tool or a primary go-to spot where they're just like, okay, I can shut everything else if I need to, and this is home base for me. So what you're seeing here, this app, this is Notion. A lot of you probably use Notion. You'll be familiar with that idea there of a workspace. And I think every successful productivity tool that sticks around eventually morphs into a workspace. They start with some kind of data structure like email or tasks or notes, and then they add the adjacent one. So if you started with tasks, you might then go to events. If you started with events like a calendar, you might then layer on tasks, which is what we've done with Compass. And you eventually become like an everything app. I think it's a good place to start, is having just one app that does a lot of things well. That's one thing. The other thing is you need a way to quickly get something out of your head and onto some persisted medium. I'm not even saying in a digital app. You could just have a notebook where it's easy to open up the page. You know where things go. You're not flipping around everywhere. You got to quickly capture. You could do this through voice memos. You could do this through just the notes app on your phone that's built in. Or you could have some fancy widget that, has a gesture or something, and it's like lightning fast to capture. But I think if you don't have this, you're gonna be scattered mentally if you can't offload some of your thoughts into a persisted store. I'm talking like a developer now because I was just working with local storage a lot. Quick action, what I mean by quick action is you can prioritize quickly. So you can see what you got, you can see the big picture, you see the constraints of like your day, your week, your month, and you're like, okay, this is what I got to do right now. And it's not a whole process to do that. Like, you don't have to go through an hour-long meeting just to decide, okay, what do I got to do right now? And then finally, for now, what I have is reflection, like the ability to use your system, see it objectively, and then improve your judgment in the future. So if you're someone who goes in 100 directions and you like doing a lot of things at once, you need a way to decide which of those 10 things you just did last week is like actually helpful and which should you stop doing. That's what I mean by reflection. Okay, so with that in mind, those are like the pillars initially of a good productivity system. And here's the personalities I see. Someone who has a crazy schedule, crazy demands. Maybe they don't have a lot of agency over their work life or their personal life, like busy moms, authors who have to like write little snippets in between their two other jobs that they were juggling. They just need a way to focus and produce immediately without like a lot of build up. They can't have very extensive rituals because they need to just be able to flick it on, and then they're probably gonna have to task switch soon enough. So there's a lot of cool examples of especially authors who are really prolific but still had a whole life because they weren't super successful right away. They figured out how to be like opportunists and be really productive in these pockets of life that they have. That's one type of person. Another type is like this ain't the right word, but someone who relies on volume. And this is me, so I know this person very well. It's very masculine. I think men will be drawn to this more so because it's more around consistency, work ethic, reliability, accountability. It just appeals to that archetype more. Their strengths are like they have their good habits, they're disciplined, they're stoic. But a con of that is you can be seduced into thinking that you'll be judged by your inputs when you're judged by your outputs. In other words, people don't care how many days in a row you worked on something normally. They care about like how good you are, what you can do for them, how good is your product, whether it took you an hour or a year. Like no one's gonna subscribe just because it was one way or the other. Like if it helps them, it helps them. And so if you think about success as just putting in the time, but you never think about, whether you're actually getting better, then you might get stuck for longer than you need to. And speaking from experience there, that's the volume guy. The visionary is something I was working on, but like, what would this person be about? They would like excel at the big picture, but would get a little stuck and have a hard time like building up to that and knowing where to start and doing some of the humble tasks that you need to just to get something off the ground. So let me jot those down right now real quick. Okay, I think we kind of know what that person is, so I'll fill that in later. But for the artist is what I imagine like a painter or like a poet to be, where it's like the thing you're doing is just kind of simple and straightforward. Like for a poet, you're typing or you're writing on the piece of paper, or for the artist, you're putting paintbrush on canvas. It's not physically difficult. There's not many constraints to that. But like mentally, I could see people delaying it or saying you're not in the right state or you're trying to get inspired. Pros and cons. So let's break it down here. What are the strengths of that kind of work style? Okay. I feel like I have some experience with this one too, so I know some of the strengths and weaknesses of it, which is what I put down there. So let's see, that's the artist. Now that was a brain dump. But I have thought about this a lot and written down some other stuff. So I'm gonna look at my old writings here, and shameless plug for the newsletter, time management for tech people, happy tech people, time management at substack.com. I don't really push this. I don't stick to a schedule right now, but over the years I have added to it, and I feel like some articles I've written speak to this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to look through them, and I'm going to look for like insights or little nuggets of takeaways that I think will be useful for this lead magnet artifact that I wouldn't be able to get from AI or from some other generic source. And why I'm doing this is I want to make sure that's if I read this stuff again, if I reread it and I'm like, yeah, that is still useful, I don't want to just let it go and defer to whatever else the AI has. I want to have those nuggets in mind first and then bring that into refining the language once I'm there. So I already took something from this post, which is like the fact that wealth isn't the only meaningful output of hard work. A lot of people will encourage hard work for the initial benefit of making money and getting financial freedom, but I feel like there's a lot of other benefits of hard work that aren't as easily recognized, and that's what this article is about. So this applies to basically the volume guy or girl, but volume requires hard work, and it's good to develop that habit or that ability, because it'll make it more likely for you to build wealth, of course, but it also comes with some other stuff. So maybe I'll add that to this, like good habits and accountability. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so I said if you focus on hard work as its own virtue and you don't get wealth initially, I think you might might have a negative response with hard work, and that's a risk by over relying on it. If you don't appreciate all the other benefits of hard work that I kind of talk about in this article, I'll leave that for now. This was a link from the article where I kind of break down the things I've built in the past and what I've gotten from it outside of tremendous wealth, because none of these really took off except for one or two, but the ones that did, I didn't capture that in monetary value. So this isn't to say that like they're all failures, but I'm trying to get a bigger holistic view of, what I got out of the hard work, and each of these projects I consider to be hard work. So this unexpected benefits is the column I'm looking at, like relationships, connections, jobs, confidence, friends, understanding about yourself and what you want, all this good stuff. So let me add that. I'm thinking of having like a takeaway for each personality, so it's not like just, okay, this is me, but more like, hey, given that this is you, try some things out, or here are some habits or some ideas that I think might improve your life immediately. So I kind of already talk about that. I'm like, don't discredit the other ways that your ambition is helping you. Maybe I can encourage them to like write down non-monetary benefits of hard work, to appreciate it. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. So that's one blog. Close that one. This one is called How to Prioritize 10 Times Faster. So I think the takeaway here is getting clear on why we ought to do something is more important than what you're doing and how you're doing it. Yeah, so this is speaking to, I noticed when I was talking to a lot of people, I was like, hey, how do you plan your day? Or how do you decide what to work on? And honestly, a lot of people, most people just kind of wing it. Like they're just trying to get through the day. They got a lot going on. It's hard to like really line everything up and do some intentional planning. So they're like, I just pull up my notes, or I just make a 3-bullet list and I just go for it. And in my opinion, that leaves you susceptible to doing things for quick dopamine hits rather than doing the highest leverage things and using your time to get a specific outcome efficiently. And that's why, and here I'm talking about, why don't you start with the why? Like, why are you even working? Why are you doing anything? And that why will lead you to picking better what's. That makes sense. If you're just relying on your emotions in the moment to decide what to do, you're going to pick the easy things that are probably less impactful. Whereas if you focus on the why, you're going to pick better what's. And I'm encouraging you to create a why document. It's not as catchy as I'd like it, but like to distill that why into as clear of a form as possible, whether it's a picture, a note card, phone home screen, short list, just something where it's a glance and it's like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing all this stuff. It's kind of got to snap you out of your yearning to do something unimportant quickly. And this is a cool example if I remember. Let's see if he's got a document. Oh, I thought there was like a picture here. Hang tight. I'm just looking for that little nugget. I feel like there's a little nugget here. Okay, Cal Newport has a list he calls his personal code of conduct. Okay, so this is like defining identities, like I don't commit verbal violence towards anyone or myself. Okay, he reviews this each week and it hones in on what he wants to focus on. So, yeah. Okay, he has a list. It's basically a list, it sounds like. Yeah, maybe I might have to dig in deeper to think about how I would make that useful for people. What type of person needs that why document the most? Probably I would say the artist, the one who relies on emotion. So let's add that as takeaway. All right, cool. Cool. Next blog. Lasting confidence comes from yourself. Yeah, I liked it. This one was short. What's it say? It's breaking down 3 different layers of confidence. There's um, deriving confidence from like the exterior, how you present yourself, body language, eye contact, tone, your style, your clothes, your jewelry, etc. There's confidence in like how you live, so your level of wealth, what you do for work, who you know, your friends. And then there's confidence that stems from who you are, intentions, beliefs, what you know about yourself, your identity. And I'm saying how the true confidence comes from that core and from who you are, because of course you can lose money, you can lose friends, you get old and saggy and fat. Your knees give out, right? Like it's fragile to build your confidence on those things, but if you can have a unwavering belief in yourself and in why you're doing something that no one can take away, you're going to be the man for your whole life. The only certainty you can have about your life is that you'll have yourself. So rooting your confidence in something that comes from you is the most stable way to go, in my opinion. So, for example, if I know that no matter what, I'm here for myself, even if everyone else leaves me, I know I got my back. I'm gonna be more confident. If I know that, for example, I always search for the truth, like I'm a truth seeker, that's an identity, then even if I get the truth wrong or if I get deceived for a certain period of time, as long as I'm always searching for it, I know that I'll be okay. I can be confident in that. For example, I don't want to read the whole article, but as someone who has just struggled with this during portions of his life and really not struggled with it in other parts, I think this is still something that's useful, but it's a little headier. So I wonder how I can fold this into something that's I want to be really tangible and immediately helpful. So let me think. How could I use this content to help make the lead magnet better? I think the visual would be cool. This might be tough. I think this is like a follow up. So not that I'm trying to get people into an email funnel, but it could be an option where if they get the lead magnet right away, it's free. Maybe you could opt into like a follow up about productivity and work life balance, and it's kind of leading you into more I would call it life design or work life integration ideas, confidence. So I'll put this at the end. I'm open to doing something like that. I think I could snap something that together and just have a drip campaign where I'm constantly in people's inbox giving them value, and then I'm just teasing out the fact that like, hey, there's a product with this in mind. Maybe you'd like to try that in the future. But I don't want to commit to it because I'm trying to focus on the things that will have big impact within the next 45 days. So probably not it. I'm going to put this under the nice to have. Okay. So I put on our nice to have. I'm just going to link this here. Not taking anything directly from this. But there we go. Oh, it's weird seeing a link of your own name somewhere. All right, y'all. If you're a coder and you were liking the coding, I hope this was interesting. If you're more of the marketer, product person, I hope this is interesting too. If you have ideas, let me know. But for the rest of this week, it's probably going to be stuff like this, working on language, words, emotions, getting clear, pitching. So the IDE is hopefully going to stay closed the whole weekend. We're just going to keep chipping away at how to get this message and this app in front of more people. Thanks for watching. Happy Monday. See you next time.